Hello, parents. Welcome back to the Weaning Project. I'm Dr. Debarathi and I make evidence based videos on care tips to raise a healthy family. If you're new here and haven't watched my first video yet, I highly recommend starting here. In that video, I explained in detail when to start solids, how to know if your baby is ready, and the basics of weaning. Now, if you have already watched that, and your baby is showing signs of readiness, like sitting up with support, lost the tongue thrust reflex, and showing interest in food, then you are probably wondering, what do I actually give them? How do I prepare it? Should I spoon feed or let them feed themselves? What if they choke? And that's exactly what we are going to cover today. Now, I'll be honest, this video is going to be a bit long. There's a lot of ground to cover. So grab your tea or coffee, maybe a snack, and notebook if you want to jot things down. This is going to be information heavy, but I promise I'll explain everything calmly and clearly so you don't feel overwhelmed. Most of your feeding related doubts are going to get clarified by the end of this video. So let's dive in. First, let's quickly talk about what first food actually are and why they matter. First foods are the nutrition-rich solid food you introduce to your baby around 6 months of age. Their purpose is threefold. First, nutrition. By 6 months, breast milk or formula alone doesn't provide enough of certain nutrients, especially iron and zinc. Solid foods help fill that gap. Second, learning. Your baby needs to learn how to chew, how to swallow different textures, and how to move food around in their mouth. These are skills that take practice. Third, exposure. You're introducing your baby to flavors, textures, and the social experience of eating. This is where their relationship with food begins. Now, here's something very important to remember. Even though you're starting solids, breast milk or formula remains the main source of nutrition for several more months to come. Solid food at this stage is complementary. It adds to milk, it doesn't replace it. So if your baby only eats a few spoonfuls in the beginning, that's completely normal. Now, let's talk about different approaches to starting solids. You've probably heard terms like purees and baby-led weaning. Let me explain what they mean, the pros and cons of each, and why you don't have to choose just one. Traditional purees. This is the most common approach. You mash or blend fruits, vegetables, lentils, or grains into a smooth consistency and you feed your baby with a spoon. Pros. You have more control over what and how much your baby eats. It's easier to ensure baby is getting enough iron-rich food. It's easier to monitor for allergies since you can track exactly what went in. It's less messy, at least in the beginning. Cons, it takes a bit more preparation. Blending, mashing, cooking separately. Your baby doesn't practice self-feeding skills as early. Baby-led weaning. Here, you skip purees altogether. Instead, you offer soft, graspable pieces of food that your baby can pick up and feed themselves. Think steamed carrot sticks, soft chapati pieces, banana slices, well-cooked broccoli florets. Pros, your baby learns to self-feed early, which builds independence and motor skills. They explore different textures from the beginning. They can join family meals sooner. It encourages intuitive eating. Your baby learns to regulate their own hunger and fullness. Cons, it's messier, a lot messier. Food will end up everywhere. There is more waste in the beginning. Parents often worry more about choking. It can be a little harder to ensure your baby is getting enough iron rich foods, especially if they are just exploring and not actually swallowing much. The combined approach. Now, here's what I tell most parents. You don't have to pick only one method and stick to it religiously. You can do both. In fact, most parents I know do a combination, and research supports this is as safe and effective approach. They give purees or mashed foods for some meals, especially when they want to ensure baby gets iron rich foods like dal or ragi porridge, and they offer finger foods at other times, letting the baby explore and practice self-feeding. This combined approach is flexible. It respects your baby's readiness and your family's routine. This is what we call responsive feeding, following your baby's cues, not rigid rules. How to choose what is right for you. Consider these factors. Your comfort level. If you're anxious about choking, starting with purees is absolutely fine. You can gradually introduce finger foods as you gain confidence. Your baby's readiness. Some babies show a strong desire to grab and self feed early. Others are happy to be spoon fed. Your family's eating style. If you eat a lot of soft, baby friendly foods at home, BLW might fit naturally. If your family meals involve a lot of spicy or complex dishes, purees might be easier initially. Your time and energy. Purees take prep time, BLW takes cleanup time. Pick up whatever feels more manageable for you. There is no superior method. There is only what works for your baby and your family. Let's address the elephant in the room, choking. This is the number one fear parents have, especially with baby led weaning. First, let me reassure you choking can be prevented with the right precautions. Here are the key safety rules. Always supervise your baby while eating. Never leave them alone. Make sure your baby is sitting upright, never lying down or reclined. Offer soft foods that mash easily between your fingers. If you can't mash it between your thumb and finger, it's too hard for your baby. Avoid high risk foods. Whole grapes, whole cherry tomatoes, nuts, popcorns, hard raw vegetables, chunk of hard fruits like apple. Now let's talk about gagging. Gagging is different from choking. Gagging is noisy, make retching sounds. Their eyes might be watery. It looks scary, but gagging is actually a safety reflex. It's your baby's way of moving the food forward that went too back. Choking, on the other hand, is silent. The airway is blocked, so there is no sound. If your baby is gagging, stay calm. Don't pat their back or put the finger in their mouth. Let them work it out. Gagging is common when babies are learning to eat, and it usually decreases as they get better at moving food around. I'm going to make a detailed video on choking prevention, how to handle gagging, and infant CPR later on. I'll link that in the description once it's up. So make sure you watch it. Alright, now let's talk about what to actually feed your baby. Rule number 1, start with single ingredient foods. That means one food at a time, not mixed dal rice on day 1, just dal or just rice or just mashed sweet potato. Why? Because if there's any reaction to the food, a rash, tummy upset, unusual fuzziness, you will know exactly which food caused it. Now, according to the latest evidence, for non allergenic foods, you can introduce new foods more quickly, even daily if you want. You don't need to wait for 3-5 days between every single vegetable or fruit. However, common allergens like eggs, peanuts, fish, wheat, and dairy. I'll cover these food introduction strategy in detail in my upcoming video on introducing allergy causing foods. So stay tuned for that. Iron rich foods should be priority. By 6 months, the iron stores your baby was born with are running low. Breast milk doesn't provide enough iron. Formula has some, but it's still not enough at this stage. So, iron rich foods need to be part of your baby's diet early on. Good options in Indian kitchens: moong dal. Cook it well, mash it smooth, and mix with a little water or breast milk. You can also roast it lightly before cooking for better digestion. Ragi, finger millet. Ragi is rich in iron and calcium. You can make a simple porridge. Roast ragi flour lightly, cook with water or milk, and sweeten naturally with mashed banana if needed. Masoor dal, tur dal, and other lentils or are excellent sources of iron. Soak them for few hours, cook until very soft, and mash well. 45 baby cereals. If you're using packaged cereals, choose ones fortified with iron. Mix them with breast milk, formula, or water. Just make sure to check the ingredient list. Avoid added sugars. Meat or chicken puree. If your family eats non vegetarian food, pureed chicken is an excellent source of iron, which is more easily absorbed. You don't have to start with all these at once. Pick one, start there, and then you can add other ingredients frequently. Other good first food: potato, sweet potato, carrot, pumpkin, bottle gourd or lauki, beetroot. Steam or boil until very soft and then mash well. Banana, steamed apple, pear, papaya, mango, ripe and soft, chiku. These are naturally sweet and easy to digest. Rice or rice cereal. You can offer plain rice cooked very soft and mashed, but note, rice cereal is not mandatory. It's just one option among many. In fact, there has been some concern about arsenic levels in rice. So it's good to rotate and include other grains too, like ragi, jowar or sorghum, oats or quinoa, preparing foods, roasting, soaking and cooking. For dal and grains, roasting lightly before cooking can improve digestibility and reduce the gas problem. Soaking for a few hours or overnight also helps break down phytates, which can interfere with the iron absorption. Cook until very soft. You should be able to mash easily with a spoon. For vegetables, steaming is better than boiling because it retains more nutrients. When you boil vegetables, many water soluble vitamins like vitamin C and B vitamins leach into the water. But here's a tip: if you do boil vegetables, don't throw away that water. You can repurpose it. Use the boiled vegetable water to thin out the purees. Cook dal or rice or even make simple vegetable stock for khichdi. This way, you're getting back some of those lost nutrients. Always mash or puree until the texture is appropriate for your baby stage. Packaged cereals, pros and cons. Packaged baby cereals can be convenient. They are pre-cooked, fortified with iron and easy to prepare. Cons: it's more expensive than homemade. Some brands have added sugars or unnecessary additives. Always read the label. Your baby doesn't get exposed to the natural taste of whole grains if you only use processed cereals. Now, my recommendation: use them if they make your life easier. But try to also include homemade options so your baby experiences a variety of flavors and textures. Can I add spices? Absolutely yes. Mild spices are safe and can actually help your baby accept family foods later on. You can include a pinch of turmeric, it has anti inflammatory properties, a tiny pinch of cumin or jeera powder, a few curry leaves while cooking, a small pinch of cinnamon or cardamom powder for the taste. Just keep it mild. Avoid chili, pepper, or anything too strong. And remember, no added salt or sugar. Now, I know this is a lot of information. That's why I have created a detailed sample food guide with preparation methods, portion sizes, and meal ideas. I'll link it in the description below so you can download and refer to it anytime. Let me quickly touch on the texture topic. In the beginning, around 6 months, start with smooth purees, the consistency of yogurt or thin porridge. As your baby gets comfortable with eating, you will gradually progress to thicker, lumpier textures, then to mashed food, and eventually to soft finger foods. Now, a quick word on allergenic foods. Current evidence shows that introducing common allergens like eggs, peanuts, fish, and wheat early, around 6 months, and offering them regularly can actually reduce the risk of allergies. This is different from non-allergenic foods, which you can introduce more quickly. Now, let's quickly cover what not to give in the first year. No added salt. Your baby's kidneys are still developing and can't handle that extra salt. Plus, adding salt trains their taste buds to prefer salty food, which isn't healthy long term. No added sugar or jaggery. You don't want to train your baby to expect sweet food all the time. Natural sugars in fruits and milk are fine, but no added sweeteners. No honey before 12 months. Honey can contain bacterial spores that cause infant botulism, a serious illness. Adult and older children can handle it, but babies under 1 year they cannot. So, no honey at all, not even a little bit in the cooking or mixed food. Avoid choking hazards. Whole nuts, whole grapes, popcorn, hard candies, chunks of raw vegetables, cherry tomatoes unless quartered, large chunks of hard fruit like apple. If you want to offer nuts, use nut butters thinned with water or mixed into porridge. If you want to offer grapes, cut them lengthwise into small pieces. Always think, can this get stuck in my baby's airway? If yes, modify it or avoid it. No cow milk as main drink before 12 months. You can use small amounts in cooking if you really want to, but it shouldn't replace breast milk or formula as the primary milk source. Avoid fruit juice. Even 100% fruit juice is high in sugar and low in fiber. It is better to offer whole mashed or pureed food. Before we wrap up, let me share a few common mistakes I see parents make. not to worry you, but to help you avoid unnecessary stress. Overfeeding or force feeding. I see parents who prepare a big bowl of food and feel upset if the baby doesn't finish it. Please don't do this. Your baby's appetite will vary from day to day. Some days they'll eat more, some days less. Both are normal. Your job is to offer food. Their job is to decide how much they want to eat. When they turn their head, close their mouth, or push the spoon away, stop. Don't coax, don't distract with screens, don't force. Forcing food creates feeding problems later. Some babies go through phases where they're less interested in food. Maybe they're teething, maybe unwell, or just not in the mood. It happens. Don't panic, don't force. Just keep offering, stay calm. Remember, milk is still their primary nutrition. If they drink milk well, they're fine. Mistake number 3, thinking there is a perfect way. There isn't. Some babies love purees, some prefer finger foods, some want both. Some eat dal and rice happily, some prefer fruits. All of this is okay. What matters is that you're offering variety of nutritious food, staying responsive to your baby's cues, and keeping meal times calm and pressure free. Alright, let's wrap this up. Starting solids, it's not about perfection. It's not about following a rigid plan or getting everything right on the day one. It's about exploration. Your baby is learning to eat and you're learning to trust them. Yes, it will be messy at first. Yes, food will end up on the floor, on their face, on their hair. Yes, some days they'll eat well, some days they'll refuse altogether. All this is normal, all this is part of the process. So stay calm, stay flexible, offer nutritious food, follow your baby's lead, and let go of the pressure. You're doing great, and your baby is going to do great too. Now, don't forget, I have linked a detailed sample food guide in the description below with preparation methods, portion sizes, and meal ideas. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Dr. Debarati Das, and I make evidence-based videos to help you raise a healthy and happy family. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.